Welcome to the Time to Thrive podcast, developed and sponsored by the Thrive Ladies Ministry of Central Baptist Church in Kannapolis, North Carolina. Come with us as we dive deep into the life stories and experiences of Christian women. Meet amazing women writers from our very own Central Baptist Church magazine, Come and See. Join us as Aleah and Anna discover how God has moved in the lives of these women and how circumstances permanently changed their lives. Whether you're driving, working, or relaxing, we're glad you joined us today. And now, it's time to thrive.
Hello, Thrive Ladies. It's Aleah and Anna ready to help you start your week off right with the Time to Thrive podcast.
So today we have a very special guest with us. We have Molly Kimmins, who Aleah actually works with, and Molly is my sister. So this is going to be a fun episode, definitely.
Yes.
So first of all, we're going to ask Molly if you could just introduce a little bit about yourself to everyone who's listening, and so we can just get to know you a little bit more.
All right, sounds good. So basic info, my name is Molly Kimmins. I'm 25 years old. I'm Anna's oldest sister, so if that gives you any kind of perspective. I am the oldest of four girls, and my mom decided to homeschool all of us, so yes, there was definite drama in our household, that is for sure. So it did give me a little bit of a different perspective growing up, but it gave me a lot of other opportunities I wouldn't have if I'd went to public school or private school or something like that. I also, like Anna said, I work with Aleah at Central Child Development Center. Shout out to them.
Best center there around.
Right. So I've been there a little bit over 6 years, and which is a part of Central Baptist Church, for anybody who does not know that. A hidden jewel. I am the kitchen manager. That's my official title, but I'm also a floater.
I did not know that.
I got that recently. I got kitchen manager / floater / gopher and everything in between.
/ the MVP.
Absolutely.
If you need anything, you call for Molly, because she'll know what to do.
Or I'll fake it till I make it. So, but it's super fun, and I love working there. And a little about me, like personally, not just work-related stuff. I have my own catering business, Molly's Kitchen, that I've been doing for about 5 years, pretty strong. And also, just as a side note, for anybody interested, I'm a coffee fanatic.
Yes.
Drink it all the time. Captain America is my all-time favorite superhero, hands down. And I love to travel, which me and Anna recently just took a trip to Colorado. So that was an adventure in itself.
Yeah, that was good.
Another story for another day, for sure.
Alrighty, well, jumping on into it, back in 2017, you wrote an article titled The Greatest Privilege. And in that article, you said, "To me, service is the greatest privilege to ultimately leave behind a legacy of lives impacted for Jesus Christ. When you are passionate about a ministry or service project, selfless love flows from you to the people you are ministering to. As a result, you serve because you want to, not because you have to."
So now that we have a preview about yourself and we have seen a little bit about your article, now we're going to dive deep into it and see why God laid this message on your heart, and just so you can share it with the women who are listening. So, first question, why do you think God laid this message on your heart to share?
I wrote this article a hot minute ago. Like, I couldn't even remember.
How many years ago?
Like 25. I was 19 in 2017, I think it was, I said. Yeah, it's been a hot minute. But looking back over it, because I read it the other day in preparation, I mean, you can definitely tell a 19-year-old wrote it with a lot of editing from their mother. At least my thoughts were there. But going back to your question of why this message was laid on my heart, it's probably because service has been such a big part of my life ever since probably middle school. I was very hesitant to get into ministry because it was something new that I had never done before. I was also very introverted. I'm thinking I got involved around freshman year of high school in the cook team. was my first big opportunity to serve. But I found out that service can be so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
You can make it your own. You get to meet people, and you also get to serve the people who also love God. And we're all in the same boat.
We all have like the same
We have the
viewpoint.
same purpose. We have the same purpose that we're all going towards. So when you have that commonality, it really meshes us all together.
I joined the church when I was a freshman, or I started coming, and the first thing that I did here was Molly invited me to go help the cook team. It was during the summer. I was a freshman in high school.
That's true. I forgot about
And I was like so nervous. And so it was kind of funny that you were saying that was your first really big time to like serve, because here that was like really my first big opportunity. I mean, but then like looking back when I was like in youth and stuff, those are like my favorite like memories from youth.
that. Absolutely. Like which you had younger people your age. So whenever I started, it was mainly like seniors. That's who made up the cook team that I started on, because they were not losing help. I was telling my friends, hey, you need to come be a part of this. So I had like 4 or 5 of my friends that just started helping. And
That's
we just
crazy how that
grew this
started.
group. And then
Now it's like the youth thing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of crazy.
So it's kind of like when you step out of your comfort zone, like how it opens up new opportunities.
Yes.
And it's also like there were all those different generations. Like there was the older generation and the younger generation. So it was like they were meshed together.
Absolutely.
And so like both of y'all had stuff to like give each other.
And also to another point is whenever you get involved in something that you really, really like, you're going to talk about it to your friends, and your friends
Yeah,
will be like, I want to be a
exactly.
part too. Like, even if it's
Yeah.
just to hang out at the first part, and then they're like, I'm invested in this. I want to keep
Yeah.
going back for more.
Yeah, I feel like our
exactly.
church does a very good job of like having something for everyone to serve. Like there's been a lot of opportunities here at this church for me and just my family in general to serve or whatever. Like we're getting the opportunity to have this podcast,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
like most people do not get like the opportunity to do a lot of the stuff we do. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and ask the next question because I feel like we're kind of getting into some of the other questions. Okay, so the second question that we're gonna ask you are, why are Christians called to serve, and in what ways do you serve personally?
I'll try not to be too preachy, and y'all can help tone it down a little bit for me, because I do like to be like that sometimes. The real answer is we're supposed to serve ultimately to glorify God. That's first and foremost. Second part is to bring unbelievers to the knowledge of Jesus Christ. Those are the 2 big things. I was looking at Matthew 5:16. Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds, your good works, and bring glory to our Father in heaven. So that kind of made me think, like, we're supposed to be the beacons for the world to see. I know we hear that all the time, but we could be the only Bible, per se, that somebody reads. So if we're shining bright for Christ, maybe whatever we do or say could lead them to say, hey, why are they different?
Exactly. And we kind of talked about this also in our class. We keep
I
on
know.
bringing
I
this
took,
up.
I took
Like,
a
it's
lot
crazy.
of stuff, like, from just Wednesday class. I was like, I'll use this. This is
Yeah.
a good idea.
Okay.
No, we did too.
Wait,
And we were-
pause for a second. I'm sorry. This is a little plug for any young adult girls who need somewhere to have an outlet. Is that how I should say that? Have an outlet. Have a community of group of girls who you don't really feel like you have a place. Next Gen Thrive. We just started a new ministry here, and it's on Wednesday nights.
6:30.
6:30.
We have
6:30.
games, Bible study,
It's so fun.
outings we're
promise.
planning.
Oh, we are planning outings, and we just have good conversation in the classes. So yeah. Anyways,
So
Sorry.
kind of we were talking about kindness and how, like, as us as humans, kindness does not come naturally to us, as in like the Christ-like kindness. Like that's not natural to us as human beings. And I think also with service, I put this in my phone. I think I say this on every single episode we do. I put this in my phone. I need to say it, but it's like
It's a good
when you're
reminder.
serving other people. Yeah, it is a good reminder because I always look at my phone. But that kind of service is like not simply our nature. Like it requires God to help us and the Holy Spirit to give the desire and motivation to serve. And you also quoted towards the end of it that personal revival is contagious, it's consuming, and it leads to passion. And as stated earlier, passion is what leads to true love and ministry. So like when people see that we have that energy and we're excited, like everybody in our class, they were so excited, you know, it makes everybody else who's listening so motivated and like, oh, I want to serve. Like you said, like when you went into that, what was it called? At that time, like when you served with the older people, was it called the Wednesday night meals? Yeah, the cook team. Like when you served in the cook team, you got excited and you told your friends. And so then it brings other people to get excited and motivated. So like that kind of service is like not natural, because it's like, why would I serve when I can't gain anything back? Or like same thing like with the income. Like why would I serve and put all my time into something and then I don't have something like getting back to me? So it's like that selfless service. Absolutely. And I think that's why it's so important. No, absolutely. So that was one of the things that I had hidden in my phone.
That's really good, yeah.
And so we're going to ask, as the part of the question, so what's personally, where do you serve right now? Because I know in 2017 when you were 19, it's definitely probably changed a lot. So
yes,
where do you serve now?
So currently I am the director of the Rock Solid Kids Choir, which is all those elementary school kids in Awana. A wonderful time together.
Yes. I still know some songs from whenever I was a kid. Like, you know, those, I was telling someone this the other day, but like those songs, like to them, they might not really understand them like now, but when you get older, like you remember those songs.
Like ingrained in your mind.
Stuck in your head. And sometimes I can catch myself singing it, or when someone's like talking about something, I'm like, oh my goodness, that's like a song that I learned. And
they
like,
come in handy with your kids, don't they?
Yes. And so
your
like
students,
my
I should say.
Yeah, my class. No, I don't have kids. Okay, anyways. But then someone's talking about something, and so then I like start remembering that song. I'm like, that's where that song came from. Like, that's what that means. And so, like, even now, if they don't understand what that song means, later down the road, they're like, oh my goodness, they were like trying to teach me, like, this is what. Anyways, I just think it's like
music
cool, like,
is like a big tool for everything.
Just how like the Psalms in the Bible are like, we're songs, so like that's how people remember stuff. And it's like so crazy how we use songs now to like remember like stuff in the Bible, like, but they use songs to like Psalms to remember stuff like that. That's, anyways, just a little
super neat. But like we've been talking, I also lead the youth cook team during the summer, and also for all the big events at church. Believe it or not, teenagers do cook your food.
Yes, I'm actually
we haven't
one of those
killed
teenagers.
Anybody yet. Knock on wood
and
or something.
Anna is one of those teenagers.
Yeah, Aleah was one of them. Michael, Emily, Laura. Whew.
Oh my goodness. I can't believe we haven't died yet.
And so I also sing in the choir, and I am a leader in our Next Gen Thrive class. So I don't necessarily teach, but I am a leader in it. I try to relate to you all.
Yeah, I think your bridge is what I think. I was like what you were trying to say last Wednesday. You're a bridge in between the two.
No, that's very good. So the next question, number 3, how would you encourage a person who feels that they do not have anywhere to serve? And how would you encourage a person who feels burnt out in their serving? So that's kind of a 2-part question.
So first part, you said encourage a person who feels that they don't have anywhere to serve. I say get out there, find something you're interested in, and just try something new. Don't be afraid. At the beginning, I was afraid to try new things. But even today, kind of like what we were saying earlier, there are so many new things for people to serve in. Yeah, even absolutely. Just in the past 5 years, things have just exploded. Social media, podcasting, things within our church or the church in general. And you will really be surprised when you get in there and find something, because it could be you might do work for children as your job, or you might work in a restaurant as your job. But if you have a hidden talent, let's say you like marketing, or you like working with children or music, if you get in there and explore those talents, it's amazing what God can do through us. Little side story is, or an example of this is, this past year, we had a new thing in our church. We had the Easter drama. And if you know me, how I am, I'm not a front and center stage person. I'm really behind the scenes person. And I got a part in the play. I was actually Mary.
Big part.
I was Mary. So I had a speaking part, which I had like 3 lines, but I also had a solo. And I'm not a solo singer, especially not a soprano. And that's what that song was. And I was very nervous. Like, I was excited, but I was super nervous. But what I learned from that experience is I got to be around people that I normally would have never had talked to unless I had been in the drama. Especially, like, there were a lot of new people in the drama that I didn't even know. And just being able to work with them, learn about their stories, was amazing. I enjoyed that so much. And to answer your second question about feeling burnout, I get that 100%. I've been in that position myself because I will get overwhelmed. I'll get frustrated. I'll be like, what am I even doing this for? I just need to give up. Now, that's definitely not the way you're supposed to be, but that also stems from trying to do service within your own self. It's really all about serving with a love for God. But the big thing is, if you aren't being poured into, if you don't have a strong relationship with God, you're not going to be able to pour into other people. So you first have to be filled up with His Spirit, and then that's when you can minister to people in the way that we're supposed to. Because
then you have an overflowing cup.
Exactly. And that's the big thing for me, because I'm a people pleaser at heart, and I will try to do and be everything. And really the priority is, God says, put me first, and then it's people second. So making sure that your relationship with God is the priority is a really big thing. Because when we do it in our flesh is really Bible-y, but when we do it in our own strength, we'll fail, even though we have the best intentions ever. But when we do it in His strength, it's amazing the stuff that we will accomplish for Him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so the next question is, you talked about how having meaningful relationships of all ages is important. Why is this important as you serve?
So coming from a young adult perspective, which I still like to call myself a young adult, I was thinking about this today. Really, if me as a 25-year-old, I would not intentionally go looking out to know a 60-year-old. Or a 75-year-old. I probably wouldn't even be looking out to know a 13-year-old or a 12-year-old. But whenever you're involved in a church specifically, you're, I don't want to say forced, but you're made to work with people of all different ages, because everybody wants to be in music, or everybody wants to cook, or everybody wants to work with children. So you're given the opportunity to work with different people. So if you're working with people once a week, twice a week, once a month, you're going to start to talk to them, to develop a conversation with them. And just out of that, a relationship will be built. And that is super important just from my own personal experience, because let's say life experience wise, somebody older than me is going to know if I'm trying to move out, or if I have a question about something in the Bible. They're going to be able to give me some very good advice, just life experience advice. Not just biblical advice. And that's also what I've been able to do for people that are younger than me, is if they come to me with questions or something's going on in their life, be like, here's what I've done. This has worked for me. I'm just an ear to listen to. That has been really important for me, just having the relationship, building the friendships, because relationships with believers, you have the same mindset.
Yeah,
You have the same lifestyle rather than people who are not Christians. So it's a good support.
Yeah.
Like mentors.
Yeah, and
yes,
that's what I was
mentors.
going to say. Like, you have that accountability, those people that if something happens or you have questions, like you don't feel alone or you don't feel isolated. Like, you always know you have like people to pour into as younger kids, but then you also know if something is happening in your life, you know that you have older people to go to and run to and ask those questions. So it's not like you're alone. Like, I feel like that's why church is so important. Like, you have that support group, you have that people that you can run to that's younger, that you can teach what the older people like teach you also, but you also have that older group that is like your mentors, your people who you can run to. So that's really good. So the very last question that we have today, and this is probably going to be difficult, one sentence, this is hard. If you had to sum up what we have talked about into one sentence or 1.5 sentences to encourage the women listening, what would that sentence be?
So I kind of was mulling over this, and it kind of was like a couple sentences, but I'll try to be brief. Summing up the article is service doesn't have to be a chore. It's something that can be so much fun.
Yes.
I genuinely look forward to the stuff that I can do for other people. That's just in my personality, and I enjoy it. It can become a second nature. But like I said, definitely keep your relationship with God the priority so that you can effectively minister to other people. Our service is a response to what God has done on the cross. Well, Jesus has done on the cross. And our love for him is seen by our service. Kind of like I said earlier. Yes, it is a daily choice. It's not just you wake up one day and say, hey, I'm going to live a life of service, and that's the end. It's every day searching out ways to minister to people, serve people, and it might be hard, but it's definitely worth it, especially in the long run. And it's exciting to see what we can accomplish together, and the possibilities are absolutely endless. Just think of how we can grow.
No, that's so good. Very good.
Alrighty. So I just want to thank you, Molly, for coming out and just having this conversation with us.
And also, we want to thank all the listeners on here for hopping on here and listening to us having the conversation. I hope you're encouraged by it. I know we definitely are. This is very good, especially for younger generations, for older generations. Like, this is applicable for anyone who is listening. So thank you so much for joining us. And thank you again, Molly, for joining us. This has been awesome. So remember to look out for next time that we have our episode, and we will see you soon. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Time to Thrive podcast. We hope you are encouraged and inspired to thrive in your daily walk with God. To find out more about the Thrive Ladies Ministry, check out our Instagram and Facebook pages or visit our website.